my body break down. The state is bleeding you dry. You're alone, you're in pain, real pain, rational pain. Have you tried calling 98?
I told you about the rent. You said call a hotline. I told you about the debt. You said call a hotline. I told you about the diagnosis, the prognosis, the declining. You not a real concern and said, have you tried calling the hotline?
Like a number on the screen, it's gonna pay what I owe. Like a stranger on a phone, it's gonna stop the landlord's notice.
Like talking to a volunteer for 40 minutes at midnight is gonna fix the actual thing that's
Making my life not worth the fight.
Just call a hotline. That'll fix. Just call a hotline. They really care. Just call a hotline. So I can feel like I did something without actually being there. Just call a hotline. Problem solved. Just call a hotline. Wash your hands. Just call a hotline. And pretend that you're not the reason.
I needed one.
I'm not depressed, I'm responding rationally to a situation that is actually systematically designed to grind me down, spit me out broke. And you wanna reframe that as a cry for hope? No. My bills are not a symptom, my pain is not a mood. My oppression is not something a crisis counselor subdues. You didn't wanna fix it, you wanted to feel clean. Wanted the appearance of having intervened. So you handed me a number, checked the box that says you tried, and went back to your life while I stayed inside mine. Just call a hotline, that'll fix. Just call a hotline, they really care. Just call a hotline, so I can feel like I did something without actually being there. Just call a hotline, problem solved. Just call a hotline, wash your hands. Just call a hotline, and pretend that you're not the reason.
I needed one.
The hotline can't stop me from aging, can't reverse what the body does, can't walk me through a healthcare system that was never built for us.
The hotline can't repeal the law that took my choice away. Can't write a check for what the state extracted yesterday.
Can't fix the thing you broke, can't fill the thing you emptied, can't get back what the system took and called it for my benefit. The hotline is not a solution, it's a referral to a waiting list, to a voicemail, to a volunteer who's also barely holding on. Reading from a script that assumes I just need to talk, like my problems are a feeling, not a fact, not a system, not a choice you made that I'm still paying for. You assume I'm irrational, assume I'm just depressed. Assume if someone listens, I'll forget about the rest. You pathologize the rational, medicate the sane, call it a disorder when I accurately name my pain. I don't need to be talked down, I need the thing that's on my chest lifted, actually lifted, not reframed to something less. Don't tell me to breathe through it, don't tell me to sit with it. Don't tell me that it gets better when you're the reason that it isn't. You want me stable enough to keep paying what I owe, functional enough to service every system that says no to my autonomy, my dignity, my right to make my own call. So you hand me a hotline number and call me carrying it on. Just call a hotline. Just call a hotline. They listen. Just call a hotline.
My rent is still due, my body's still breaking, the stage still owes me, and you still did nothing. Check the box, just call a hotline. Sleep at night, just call a hotline. Tell yourself you tried, and tell yourself you tried. I am not depressed. I am responding to real conditions with real consequences that a phone call cannot fix. The hotline is not care. It is the appearance of care designed to protect you from the cost of actually caring. There's a difference, and you know it. Call me when you're ready to do something real.
Hi, everybody. So today I'm going to talk about the weaponization of you need help, of just call a hotline, the gaslighting, now in society, people are constantly asking, how are you? They're constantly asking you to affirm their worldview. It's not as if you're going around broadcasting that you're miserable or that life sucks. No, they're asking. They want you to affirm their view. And then when you don't, oh, you need help. And even in spaces like this, YouTube, where you think that we're like minded, right? This is the one space in life where we can actually express ourselves. They don't even want us to have this. Y'all know I had somebody over here gaslighting me. Just people trying to silence me. I don't know what it is. Like, apparently, just speaking the truth is a threat to them. And so I want you to understand when they tell you to get help, they're not concerned about you. When they tell you to get help, that is a threat. What they're essentially saying is you need to erase yourself. You need to shrink yourself, become small, stop speaking your truth. If you don't, then I'm going to weaponize the state against you, and then the state will silence you for me. So this is not a suggestion. This is their intolerance. They're trying to invalidate your perception of reality, that life isn't fair, that maybe you got screwed over. They don't want you to have your truth, even on a small channel such as mine, even if within your own family dynamic, when you're in your own workspace, you just want to be left alone. They're not going to leave you alone. They want you to validate their work. They want to take it from, they want to take away your peace. Because maybe you have already accepted that life isn't fair and it's not ever going to be fair. You may not like it, but you may have come to terms with it. No, that's not good enough. They want you to say that life is wonderful. And by not saying that life is wonderful, you pose an existential threat to their entire worldview. Now, there's a logical fallacy called the just world fallacy. The core belief under this fallacy is that life is fundamentally fair. And the people who subscribe to this fallacy believe that good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people. They believe that we have a meritocracy. If you work hard, you will succeed. If you follow the rules, the system will work for you. So they believe inherently that the world is just. If you suffer or you get screwed over, they don't think that it's the system's fault. They think it's your fault. They think you absolutely deserve it. And that's why their response is to get help, because they think the problem is you. They think that you're the one who needs to get fixed. They're trying to project and protect their own worldview. They want you to believe that people have control over their own fate. You must have done something wrong. And I don't know, I guess they're trying to weaponize whatever mental health expert is to uncover it so that you can expose yourself to this mental health expert. And then you can come to the light. Then you can actually accept that no, the system didn't fuck you over. It was actually your fault. That mental health expert is going to slap some sense into you and get you to understand that the state is here for your own good, that you had life imposed on you for your own good, for your own learning journey. You should be grateful. And everything that you believe is completely wrong. You need to be re-educated. Your anti-natalism, your anarchy, your pessimistic worldview. No, those are not your opinions based on your lived experience. You're just wrong. They're going to tell you how you should feel about your own existence, how you should feel about the system, how you should feel about your environment, about having to pay taxes, about having to pay student loans, about having to work a shit job. They're going to tell you how you should feel about all of that. And so when someone is living a life of poverty, they assume that the person is just lazy. They made poor financial choices. It's always their fault. They did something wrong. If someone is sexually assaulted, well, they must have been wearing some revealing clothing. They made themselves a target. When someone works a shitty job, it's because they didn't get an education. But then when they run to somebody like me who actually did get an education and still got fucked over, okay, well, that's still your fault. You deserve it. The system works. You did something wrong. They can't tell you what you did wrong, but that's the role of the damn expert. The expert is going to go deep into your psyche and figure out what you did wrong. Everything happens for a reason. If you get cancer, if you lose a loved one, it serves some kind of greater purpose. And the help is supposed to help you figure it out. Now, of course, when I tell you to get help, they never offer help themselves, right? This is a cop-out. It costs them nothing to tell you to get help. They're not the ones who are going to be providing it. They don't tell you that when you get help, you're going to be the one stuck with all of these psychiatric bills. They don't tell you that when you call a hotline, the police show up at your door, force you into psychiatric confinement against your will, that you get pumped full of drugs, that you lose your liberty. No, they don't think about that because now you're out of sight, out of your mind, out of mind. Now they don't have to hear about your fucking whining, and now they get to go on about their business. What happens after they weaponize the state on you, it's not their problem. The goal, the ultimate goal, is to reshape your worldview so you can become a slave like them. So you can become productive, so that you can become a statist, so that you can learn to accept authority. Because they're right and you're wrong. Notice that every time you ask them direct questions, they can never answer. What is it going to do? Because I asked that guy that, what is this maxed out person? What is that going to do for me? He couldn't answer. What is the purpose of life? They can't answer that. Name one non-selfish reason to procreate that actually benefits the person who is brought into existence. They can't answer that either. All they can do is deflect and gaslight. You need help. There's something wrong with you. I'm eventually going to get into this guy, what is his name? Enric Fromm, this German philosopher from the 60s. He has a lot of interesting theories. Not in America. Well, he has done some interviews in America, but I guess he's German, or he was German. I'll get back to him at some point. So there's only three choices. The first choice is to accept that the world is unfair, that bad things happen to good people, the system is rigged, and that basically everybody who gets screwed over, they deserve it. Well, I'm sorry. Let me start that over. The first choice is that the world is unfair, that bad things happen to good people, the system is rigged, and that you may actually not deserve your circumstances. This is the correct answer, but most people are not going to accept that. They're never going to accept that bad things happen to good people. So the second choice is to conclude that you must have done something wrong to deserve your suffering. Because this preserves their worldview that life is fair, that they're not necessarily causing harm by putting you in this system. And then the third choice is to pathologize you. To say that your objective observations are the result of mental illness. They're going to dismiss you entirely. They're not even going to respond. They're just going to gaslight you. They almost never accept option one, that bad things happen to good people, that maybe you actually didn't deserve it. Maybe you actually did everything right and you still got fucked over. If you were to use my situation as a case study, if I were to go through all the details of me being a good Christian, going to church, getting an undergrad degree, serving in the military, going to law school, still getting fucked over, still living a life of poverty, they don't really have much of an answer for it. But somehow I still fucking deserve it. Because if they were to accept that bad things happen to good people, then they would have to accept that success might not necessarily be based on merit. That it may actually be based on privilege, systemic advantage, exploitation, luck, predation, social climbing. So the whole veneer of the self-made man collapses entirely. Secondly, if the world is random and is entropy, then they would have to accept that despite their best efforts, even if they worked hard, there still is a good possibility that they could still lose their jobs. They could still suffer health problems. Bad policy changes from the government could actually negatively impact their lives, and that there's actually nothing they can do about it. And third, if they actually accepted that the world isn't fair for everyone, then they would have a moral obligation to act. Because this is their system. They support democracy. They support the state having a monopoly on physical force. So if their system is leading to negative outcomes and the system itself is broken and they can't just blame you, then they would have to acknowledge their complicity in your demise. And so they're not going to do that. They're just going to blame you. That's the easy choice. That's the cowardly choice. So it's so easy to say you're just too negative, you're depressed, you need help, you're angry, you need medication. I'm just going to gaslight you and tell you how you should look at things differently. They're not going to respond to your reality. They don't know you from a can of paint. These people may have just met you, and somehow they think that in 5 minutes after talking to you, they have a solution that you haven't considered. They have all the solutions to your damn problems. They know better than you. You have spent a lifetime trying to figure out your way through this damn matrix. They can't really do that with me, though. When I talk about how, oh, if you have a law degree but you're not licensed, nobody would fucking hire you. They do experience deep cognitive dissonance. They can't accept that that might actually be true. They try to rationalize it and try to figure out how it's not true. They can't tell me how it isn't true. Y'all know I did speak to Judge Joe Brown. Judge Joe Brown gave me all these options that I had already done. He taught me to go to the EEOC. He told me a whole bunch of shit that I've already done. Because in his mind, the system isn't the problem. I'm the fucking problem. So he just wanted to lecture me. He wanted to do the whole Bill Cosby, pull your pants up, and then life will be fine. And of course, by the end of that conversation was such a nothing burger. He overtalked me the entire time. I couldn't get a word in edgewise. He was not interested in anything I had to say. And that's how a lot of these people are. They got theirs out the system. You figure out how you're going to get yours. I'm not going to make any critiques of the system. Only thing I'm going to do is blame you. Only thing I'm going to do is chastise you and then tell you how your perspective is wrong, even though I haven't even listened to it. So they're not going to focus on the system. They're not going to focus on systemic injustice. Their focus is entirely relegated to whether you are well or unwell. The conversation shifts from whether you have an accurate perception of your own reality. Somehow you imagine these things. These things couldn't have possibly happened. The system works. If I were to tell people about some of the horror stories that I've had with some state officials who completely abused their authority, they wouldn't fucking believe me. They would think I was making this shit up. And then I would put a fucking target on my back. I'm not trying to sound conspiratorial. I'm not trying to do that. This shit is not it's not an anomaly. It's common for those who deal directly with state officials that they get this authority and they use it however they want. And if you don't know how the system works, because when somebody tries to explain it to you, you say it's boring, then of course it's not going to make sense to you. So the unfortunate outcome of the just world fallacy is that, well, if you feed into it, then you internalize everything that's happened to you and you believe that it's actually your fault. If you actually listen to them that you just need help, then you start to police your own thoughts. You start to police your language because you already know that as soon as you express your truth, you know how they're going to respond. And so now you self-police your own language and your own actions. Now you can't even be your authentic self. And that's what they're trying to do, by the way. That's why they're not entertaining you. That's why they're constantly asking you, how are you? I don't know that these people are consciously doing it, But these people are automatons anyway. So whoever the architects of society, they have already created this culture. I don't know. I mean, I guess you watch movies and then they ask, "How are you doing?" And then people just do it. They don't realize why they're doing it, but really they're trying to get you to toe the line to say that life is wonderful. These people are not, what's the word? They're not acting, they're behaving. Everything is scripted. The way society functions is entirely scripted. Most people don't have original thoughts. Most people don't behave in their original natural manner. Their thoughts are not their own. We get all these cliches about how everything happens for a reason. The Lord works in mysterious ways. I could use another cliche. I don't know if I should go there. That gosh, I'm trying to figure out a way to clean it up. That your solution is a permanent solution to a temporary problem, as if your problems are not permanent. As if you don't get the right to do what you want, you're not going to be a sitting duck to live a continued life of oppression. Because of course, none of these people are going to help you. They're just going to gaslight you, project, scapegoat. So when they gaslight, I just want you to think about what that actually means. They're trying to redefine your reality. They know your reality better than you. Your own lived experiences are completely irrelevant. They're going to assume that you're delusional, you're making stuff up, that you're just interpreting things wrong. You got the facts wrong. Maybe you were not really abused. Maybe the system didn't really fuck you over. They know. They have all the damn answers. This is the medicalization of dissent. They're using the state as a weapon. When you go get help, as they suggest, you're putting yourself in a system. You're documenting your own oppression. You're it's a the predictable outcome is that, well, you can't say that they did it to you. You did it to yourself. You went to them. You told them your innermost private thoughts, and then everything is documented. So when they institutionalize and take away your liberty, who can you blame? You did it to yourself. Of course, you didn't know that. You thought they were actually going to help you, because the very people who told you to get help, they seem trustworthy. They seem to actually care about you. No. No. You know, when my mom told me to get help, I already knew why she was doing that. It wasn't because she actually gave a fuck about me. It was because she wanted me to go back being my old self. She wanted me to be the fun, gay son who went shopping with her, who cracked stupid jokes. The fact that she contributed to my depression, the fact that she contributed to my spiral, my downward spiral, is completely irrelevant. She wants to extract. So she offered to pay for it. I'm like, at that point, I was still trying to be respectful, but if she were to say that shit to me now, I think I would respond completely differently. Bitch, you're the one who needs help. Bitch, you're the narcissist. Bitch, you're the one who abused me. I didn't abuse anybody. I could talk about my family history, shit she's done, not just to me, my brother, my father, shit she's done to her friends. They always want to project. They will tell you that you need help. The people who need help are not the ones who actually seek help. The narcissists, the abusers, they don't get help. They tell you to get help so that you can learn to tolerate their fucking abuse. So they're not doing it out of concern. They have their own ulterior motives. They want you to be productive. They want to extract. They want you to police your language. They want you to be fake. They want you to be a fucking slave. Don't say how you really feel. It is a it is a credible legal threat to tell someone to get help. And the threat is psychiatric confinement. The consequences are real. And then you can have a permanent stigma placed on you that can actually prevent you from obtaining certain employment. Yes, y'all know. Well, y'all can look at a case like Britney Spears. I mean, I'm not sure that she was in danger of harming herself, but they put her in this system of psychiatrists and what was the term called? Her father basically had I can't think of the damn term. Anyway, she lost her liberty because she got help because they said she was crazy. Did anybody stop to think about what was happening to her? What was going on behind the scenes? Was she being abused? What was going on with her children? So this is what they do. They provoke you to some type of public outcry, and then, oh, you're crazy. After they turned you crazy. And so yes, you go to one of these mental health professionals, you think it's a safe space. You actually think you're talking to a friend and they're just sitting there documenting everything. They're not going to stop you. They're just going to let you keep talking. And then you say all kind of statements that you can never take back. I don't think my life is worth living. I don't enjoy my life. I don't know why I'm here. I wish I was never born. Oh, that's enough. They got probable cause. And they're going to use, well, they first of all, they have a duty to report. So everything that you said can and will be used against you in a court of law. But again, you did it to yourself. You're the one who sat there and divulged all of your private thoughts. I'm not sure what you're supposed to get out of that. I'm not sure how it actually benefits you. It benefits everybody else around you who wants control because they don't want you to think or to have any autonomy about your own thoughts. They don't want you to express how you feel about your own existence. So the double bind is that, well, first, if you truly needed help, then you would ask for it. And then if you accept help, it proves that you are unwell and that you were, and that they were right all along. Excuse me. So if you refuse help, you're in denial. And if you accept help, then you would validate their pathologizing of you. So there is no way to win. I would say to disengage with these people, don't even respond. They don't give a fuck about you. I mean, who are these people? Who are these people to say that you need help? And again, when I get to Enric Fromm, what he says is that it's not the people who disassociate from society who need help. It's the people who are integrated into society. They're the ones who need help. They suffer from some type of neurosis, which allows them to accept all kinds of injustices. It almost becomes invisible to them. So yes, they're trying to get you in the system. They're trying to put you in the matrix, have you register in some type of medical database. They're documenting your thoughts. And of course, this makes you easy prey later. Your perspective threatens their worldview. And so they're going to use social pressure and weaponize the state to make you conform. What they're saying is that your thoughts are not acceptable. And so they're going to use the state to force you to change your views. Now, I've talked to y'all about my book, and the title is Whose Life Is It? The Moral Debt for Life Enslavement. I want you to know that the state is not solely the problem, the public is the problem too. The reason that the state functions this way is because this is exactly what they want. The public themselves do believe in collective ownership. They don't believe in self-ownership. They don't believe that you own your life. They don't believe that you should have any autonomy. They want to say in everything that you do. They can't just mind their business. They want to say in your reproductive functions, in your thoughts, how you live your life, whether you procreate, whether you have a right to medical assistance in dying. They want to say in all of that. Because the state is not everywhere at all times in all places, right? The state has a limited police force. And so the everyday citizen, the Boy Scout, who wants the do-gooder, they deputize themselves as agents of the state. And some of these people may be close to you. They may be your friends, your family members. When they threaten you with a call for help, they are performing a state function to funnel you back into the state, to use the state as the solution for all of your problems. They're trying to tell on you, they want to be snitches. I do address that in my book also, about how snitching on people, like, to call somebody for help, that is an act of violence. And this is why they gaslight me when I talk about how I'm fighting for the right to medical assistance in dying. They're not interested in protecting vulnerable people from coercion. I know that one stalker wants to debate me. The reason why I refuse to debate him because I don't think he has anything to offer. But I want you to know that this is a gaslighting tactic also. They're trying to protect their interests in your life. They do believe that you are owned by the collective. The social contract, well, according to Hobbes, without the state, you would be in a war against all. And so the social contract was created so that everybody can feel safe. You don't have to fight for yourself anymore. You don't have to fend for yourself in a state of nature. But then the entire social contract is based on the preservation of life. And so decriminalizing medical assistance in dying is a judgment on the system itself. It is the ultimate threat. That's why they don't understand. That's why they keep gaslighting me, talking about how, oh, you're trying to use the state to assist you, when I have said the complete opposite repeatedly. They know that what they're saying isn't true. And I'm going to tell you why they say this. Because if the state can't protect you, if the state is producing bad outcomes, the state is producing injustice, unfairness, cruelty, and people decide that maybe life isn't worth living, that is a critique of the state. Because if the state were truly fair, if the state actually served the common good, no rational person would want the right to medical assistance in dying. And once you have the right to medical assistance in dying, then no one, including a state, can coerce you, because the social tools for coercion are based on the threat of poverty, the loss of freedom, isolation, institutionalization. And these threats only work if you're forced to continue existing. So once that option is put on the table, the state loses its power entirely. What threat can they impose on you? And I did state in my book how death is the limit of state power. Death is the one thing that the state can't really control, but they try to control it anyway because the state wants to be God. The state can't create life. And although they can take away your life, they can't prevent you from dying. You're going to have to die at some point. So basically, the state is a demiurge. It wants to act like it's God, but it's really not. A person who has the right to die is a person who cannot be controlled. And that's why they are vehemently against my plan to decriminalize medical assistance in dying. It's not because they give a fuck about vulnerable people. And that's why I'm not even going to debate these people. They're a waste of my fucking time. Now, I did say I was going to get to I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. Eric Fromm. And that basically humans have a vital creative drive. They're meant to create, love, grow, and express themselves. But then when they're trapped in a system that restricts their growth, makes them feel powerless, and forces them to accept lies, then their vitality dissipates. Then their creative nature turns into destruction. When they don't have an outlet to express themselves, right? There's not a forum for you because you can't go to the courts. The courts are not going to protect your rights. The police are not going to protect your rights. They have a monopoly on violence, so you can't take the law into your own hands. You're just trapped. You're just stuck with the oppression. There's nothing you can do about it. Well, that's when people start rioting and engaging in all kinds of destructive acts. On a psychological level, everybody who commits crimes, who like they destroy their community and all that, it's basically because they have no faith in the system. They believe that the system is unfair, and so all they can do is fucking destroy. And on a subconscious level, yes, those people also believe that their victims deserve it because they see their victims as being part of the system. So the people who go to work, the people who are successful, I don't know, maybe they blame them for their lack of success. But capitalism is a race to the bottom. And so here's the thing. Don't assume that these people are on your side. I know you want to assume that people are good and that if you're talking about your dismay, if you're talking about your despair, you assume that they're being empathetic, that they actually care, they're actually trying to help you. And so you have a desire to engage with them, right? I mean, that would be rude of you to tell somebody to fuck off when they're expressing empathy, right? These people are not your damn friends. And you have every right to tell them to go fuck off. They're not concerned with you. They're trying to protect the state. Or at least they're trying to protect their interests in the state. That this system has benefited them. They don't want you speaking ill of their God because they do actually worship the state. And they do take it as a personal affront that you are speaking so negatively about the system, a system that they love so dearly. A system that they love even more than their own damn children. So you should not trust these people. When they start gaslighting you, disengage. Don't argue with them. Don't go back and forth. When they start making these non sequiturs, when they're not responding to shit that you have actually already explained and they just keep repeating the same bullshit, they're doing that shit on purpose. They're trying to invalidate you to make you look crazy. They don't want you critiquing the system. They want you to be invisible. They're trying to erase you. They're trying to erase your experience. So they're going to threaten you with help. And I want you to know it is a threat because their help isn't voluntary. It is a credible threat where you're going to be forced to do things that you don't want to do. And they're trying to manipulate you so that you believe that it is in your best interest. Now, those services are really for crises, right? If you're in a state of crisis, that's one thing. These people are not philosophers. They can't tell you the purpose of life. They can't pay your student loans. They can't do anything to remedy systemic oppression. So, yes, there may be some people who are irrational. Some people who are trying to make a split decision because they broke up with their girlfriend, their car broke down. I don't know. But clearly, you're not in that same situation. Clearly, you have been thinking this way for 20 plus years. So, this hotline can't do shit for you because you're not in a state of crisis. You just don't think that life serves a purpose. You just don't enjoy your life. You just don't enjoy being a fucking slave. There is no counseling that is going to change that. It is what it is. Now, and again, they don't have to talk to you. They don't have to listen to it. They will. What makes it so I don't know. What makes it so fucked up is that these are the people who will broach the conversation. They will bring it up, asking how you're doing. They want to pry into your life. And a lot of times, I will try to be quiet. I will try to not say anything. I'm not going to lie to you because that's what you want me to do. But if you push me far enough, yes, the truth is going to fucking come out. And so a lot of times people take my resistance to their intrusions into my private thoughts as me being rude. They want to know how I think about this or how I think about that. I'm not telling you, especially if it's in a work environment. I'm not doing that so that you can fucking report me and get me fired. I know there's only one way that you can express your opinion about life. It's not an honest opinion. The only opinion that you are allowed to have is that life is wonderful. Point blank, period. You say anything else, there are social and economic consequences. They're trying to colonize your mind. The one thing that you should have autonomy and sovereignty over is your mind, but they don't want you to have that either. They don't want you to have autonomy over your own thoughts. They want you to stop thinking independently, stop observing, stop recognizing that things could actually be better. And they want you to come back into the collective delusion that everything is wonderful. Peachy King. So by fixing you, they don't have to address your perspective. Your perspective threatens their peace. It holds up a mirror to them that you are a product of their society, a society that they support, a state they support. They're not interested in changing the system. They're interested in your silence and complicity. They want you to shut up. They want you to comply, toe the line, just like me, be a good little slave. They want to make you just like them. And by the way, they're not happy either. They're not happy. They pretend to be happy. Yes, they can go on social media, take all these pictures with their fake smiles, make it seem like they have perfect lives. These people are they're just as miserable as you are, except they don't accept it. They lie to themselves. They try to pretend that they're happy. You know that they're not happy because of how they treat other people. They're always trying to abuse people. They're always trying to compare themselves, and they don't help people. They just find ways to kick people when they're down because they're fucking miserable. And this is what miserable people do. So you may be miserable, but at least you're not trying to extract. At least you're not trying to change other people's perspective. At least you're not trying to weaponize the state so that they can contort their worldview to conform with yours. So these are the motherfuckers that need some damn help. These are the violent statists with very fragile egos who can't accept any challenge to their perspective. These people are very weak. Their identity is tied to the state, to capitalism, to the system. They have to defend it with all their fucking might because it's all they fucking have. They know deep inside that their success and their happiness is not based on merit. So when you attack the system, then you're attacking them. That's how they see it. Their loyalty is not to you, it's to the fucking system. So I don't know. I would say disengage with them. I know that you can't always avoid these people. I mean, you can gray rock them. They ask how you're doing. I'm just trying to get through the day. I mean, you don't have to lie to them. Just say something bland that does not give them the emotional validation they're seeking. Oh, it's just another day. Same old, same old. Something that is neutral, something that's not going to get you in trouble to where you're going to lose your job, but it's also not going to give them the validation they're trying to get out to you. I'm still trying to create the perfect response. I don't know. I don't know if there is a perfect answer. I know you can't answer honestly. I know you can't really tell people when they ask, how are you doing? You can't say, oh, I'm miserable, I'm depressed, oh, I hate life. You can't say that shit. But a neutral answer is not necessarily a lie. I mean, it's just the extent of it. I don't think they're looking for a deep philosophical answer. They're not really trying to. It's rhetorical. It's almost like a ritual where everybody just goes around lying to each other. They want you to participate in it because then you become part of the club. They're of their delusion. Nobody is really looking for an honest answer. So really, you can tell them whatever you want. Blow smoke up their ass if you think it's going to benefit you. But just recognize it. Recognize the truth for yourself. Even if you lie to them, don't lie to yourself. You know that life is not wonderful. You know that you're not really happy. I mean, and I would say, depending on who you lie to, make sure you're getting something out of it. If it's your boss or somebody that can actually benefit you, fine. If it's just a nobody who, like, no, Why should I lie to you? Like, who the fuck are you? I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. Now let me see if there's any comments that I should respond to. I'm definitely not going to bring anybody up because I just don't have a lot of time. My brother's on a trunk load of psychological drugs and to no avail. I've seen shrinks for decades. They can't fix shit. Thank you, Joe. I haven't. Welcome back to the channel. Maybe I'll do another live stream like on Thursday or Friday. Maybe we can get you up here. I would like to talk to you about your First Amendment auditing, and maybe I can start doing that. I don't know if you can make money off that, but maybe you. You know what? I don't know if you want to do that on your channel or my channel, but I would like to talk to you about First Amendment auditing. Shrinks aren't going to fix waste, slavery, monotony, aging, illness, or nor death. Exactly. And the gag is that a lot of these shrinks are more fucked up than their patients. They don't know this. They act like they're so well together. Anyway, when I tell stories, people don't believe me. They think I'm making it up. So I'm gonna be specific. Let's just say that I knew a psychologist and a psychiatrist, and both of them were fucked up. Both of them had their own strengths. Strengths can't fix chronic injury that caused a lifetime of debilitating pain. Strengths can't fix the loss you feel as close family and friends die. So much of success in life comes from your birth and or if you were in the right place at the right time. You can work your butt off for a company, be a recognized employee, but the company you work for gets bought out by a competitor and your position becomes redundant. Right, but they believe that you deserve it. It's your fault. They actually believe that they earned it. They deserve it. They believe that they deserve their success and you deserve your lack of success. It's completely your fault. They believe that you have complete autonomy over your own life. How could a black man in the South in the 1920s ever fix a situation when society and the law were inherently stacked against you? Um, I don't know what their response would be to that. They still would try to say that it was their fault. Um, I guess if they just stayed in their place, then at least they won't get in trouble with the law. They should just be grateful because they live in the best country in the world. They have running water. Back then they had radios, I guess. I don't know. These people will kind of come up with all kind of ways to rationalize how life is fair. Even slavery, it doesn't matter how manifestly unjust things are, they will find a way to justify it. Well, I hope that I'm doing well too. I wish that were true. Well, I don't really have any drama over here. I mean, I think I've already eliminated most of it. The last little bit of drama, that person has been neutralized. So, um, no drama, no more drama in the words of Mary J. Blige. What do you mean? What do you mean about gay men? No, this is live. This is live. Yes, leave Brittany alone. Yeah, conservatorship. I don't know. I was drawing a brain frog earlier. Anyway, thank you for that. Hey, Patsy. All right, have a good evening. Thank you, Fatima. Yeah, I want to do that too, and I'm going to start going back to the gym, but I need to get my sinus surgery done first, and then I'm going to get snatched, and then I'll, whatever. Okay, I won't talk about myself right now. Only four. Well, hopefully those were four small meals. Right. Just eliminate the carbs. No, I couldn't see them earlier, but I see them now. Yeah, I always respond to the comments when I'm done. Well, welcome to the club. Thank you for becoming an anarchist. I appreciate it. No, it's a um we're not evolving, we're devolving. This is not good. People are becoming more enslaved, and it's not even like it's just based on force. Like they almost enslaved themselves and their damn children, unfortunately. Yeah, well, they're not going to do that. And this is, I mean, I didn't make the connection directly, but the reason why they're not going to stop procreating, one of the reasons is because they don't believe that life or the system is inherently unjust. If there's a bad outcome, they believe that it's your fault, that you actually deserved it. Bad things don't happen to good people. If it happened to you, you must have done something wrong. This is what they actually believe. So there's no reason for them to not procreate because, well, if you're a good person, then you'll have a good life. This is what they actually believe. All right, everybody. That is the last comment. So you all have a good night, and I will be back soon.